Still to come, using quarantine as a time to reset our lives.
Anybody under 40 doesn't know what that means.
Nope.
Best-selling author and speaker Dr. Dain Heer is back with his tips on how to do it. Welcome back. The whole world is currently tracking the coronavirus pandemic, attempting to predict outcomes for not only the health of the public, but also the potential economic effects.
However, what isn't being accounted for is the overwhelming sense of anxiety that many people are experiencing. Our next guest says quarantine does not have to be a bad thing. He says use this time to hit the reset button and start living better than ever before. We are saying good morning to best-selling author and speaker, Dr. Dain Heer. He's joining us from Houston. Hi, good to see you.
Hi, guys. Great to be with you.
So how are you coping? First of all, you actually were on a tour in Europe when the quarantine began, right?
Yes, I felt like I was beating the corona by one day around the world. As each country would close its doors, I would beat it by a day. And I was supposed to end up in Rome and ended up doing that class with people from around the world via Zoom. So it's been an adventure. And yet it's also been an amazing time to start creating something new.
Yeah, so why do you think now is a good time to hit the reset button, as you call it?
Well, we've got this thing that has never occurred before, and we basically pressed pause on the entire world and so many of our lives. And a lot of us have never really had the time to sit and evaluate what's actually true for me, what would I like to do? And we've got some time, but also we've got a lot of creative energy that isn't doing what it used to do. Let's use it on our behalf.
All right, so let's talk about some tips on how to do that. Tip number one is use this pause to get off of autopilot.
Yes, most of us have never really looked at our lives from the point of view of, if I were crafting and creating this, what would I choose and what would I create it as? Well, right now, if you looked at it from this point of view, if I just came to the planet and started living today, what would I create my life as? That doesn't mean you can necessarily have it all or create it all, but what it does, it pulls you out of the autopilot that a lot of us have been on. And let's face it, the autopilot has been one of the things that has made a lot of people sort of unhappy, feeling like they're just robotically going through their lives. Well, we press stop on the robot switch, so now what would you like to create?
Okay, so, and you also say to, number two, you've kind of covered there, don't wait, create, but what about number three, which is focus on the positives?
Yes. So number three, here's the thing. We all know what it's like to research coronavirus outcomes, measures, et cetera. And before we know it, we're down in a dark rabbit hole that we feel like we can't get out of, or we start reading something or listening to something. What I'm suggesting is we actually have the choice for how we function and what we start to look at. And when we start to go into the heaviness, just stop, turn the web page, shut the book, go on and do something else. Because if we choose to, and so for example, for me, it's like I've been watching feel-good movies, I've been watching superhero movies, I've basically been watching anything that makes me feel happier when I watch it, or gives me a tear of gratitude. And another example of some of the positives is, like, we have animals all over the planet that are sort of thriving in different places. And like in India, for example, 60 million sea turtle eggs because people are not on the beach. Children in China are looking up and seeing blue sky for the first time. There are a lot of positives out there if we look at them, and the more we focus on that, that's the more we get.
You know, you also say that start getting through your to-do list. I've also heard that maybe it's not a time to do your to-do list, just to kind of chill for a second and not get, you know, on that mode of having to get stuff done.
That's interesting because I actually have both. And the last one is way down there. I doubt we're going to get to it. But if you have a lot of things that are sort of weighing on your mind, that if you do them, it'll take a little of the weight off, do it. And from my point of view, it's like once again, we have a lot of time. So at the same time, a lot of us have needed rest. Our bodies have needed rest. We've been going. Use that also. So it's not actually an either or. It's actually assessing the situation, which is what I mean by getting off of autopilot. Assessing the situation, looking at it, going, okay, am I going to get happier and get more done if I do my to-do list? Or am I going to get happier and be more nurtured if I rest and relax? And realize both of those are okay.
I love below you it says it's okay to rest. It's nice to see that. You know, we're not told
Yeah,
that very
truly.
often. It's hard for A personalities to do that.
Hey, you know what? I've been sleeping later in the morning because it doesn't take me as long to drive to work every day.
Yeah.
All right, Dain, those are some of the tips that you have. There's a whole lot more where those came from. Always a pleasure to have you on. For more information on Dain Heer, you can log on to his website. It's right there on your screen. Also at KTLA.com. We'll be right back.